Hi, everyone. Welcome to the third episode in our Back to School series on the must-know accessibility features on the iPad. As I mentioned in episode 1, these tools aren't just for students with diagnosed disabilities. These tools can support all learners by promoting independence, focus, and access. Let's dive into episode 3 using the Safari Reader tool on the iPad. Who can benefit from this tool? Really, anyone can benefit from using this tool. Some reasons why your student may want to use this tool is if they want to adjust the font, style, and size of what they are reading on the website, adjust the page contrast from light to dark mode, use text-to-speech to have the text read aloud, and have the ability to remove distractions from the web page. Let's take a look at this tool in action. The Safari Reader tool can be found on a Mac, iPad, and an iPhone. This feature is available on all of the platforms, so no matter what device yourself or your student is using, you will have access to it. At its basic, it says here on the support.apple.com page, it is being advertised as being able to hide distractions when reading articles in Safari on the iPad. This website will also show you where to find the reader on your iPad, and you can also have it set so you can use your reader automatically. So if you know that you always want to have the distractions removed from your iPad, you can automatically have that done so you don't have to go into the reader mode every time. Here at the top, you can see I'm in the iPad user guide, and for select version, if you don't have the most up-to-date iOS version, which is version 18, you can go in and scroll through to see the other versions of the iPad user guide. Okay, so now we are on my iPad, and I picked this Wikipedia site about Marvel Comics just because I found that it had so much going on the screen, so you can really see how all of the features work. So the first thing you need to know is where to find the reader feature. So in your search bar up here on the upper left side, you'll see the little box with the 2 lines. When you tap on that, it now brings up your reader box. The first feature that I want to show within this menu is the Find feature. So on the top left-hand side, you see it looks like a document with a little magnifying glass. When I tap on this, what it will do is at the bottom of the screen, you can see it has the box and it says Find. So if your student is using this maybe to find vocabulary words or definitions, or if there's a question that relates to something, instead of them having to scroll through the entire website, they can type in a word and they will be able to see where that word shows up within the article. So I'm going to type Marvel. It would help if I spelled it correctly. So you do have to spell it correctly. So what you see is, and I specifically did this word because it's everywhere. You can see here on the bottom, it says that it's showing the yellow highlighted. That is word number 4 of 387 times that the word Marvel shows up. On the screen, you can see the white highlight is for all of the other Marvels that are there, and number 4 is going to be on yellow. So the student could just scroll up and down the screen to try to find the word. You also notice that next to the box, you have these up and down arrows. If I tap on that, you'll see that the yellow highlighted box moves through. So this is kind of an extreme example because again, Marvel shows up so many times, but it's also the way for me to show you that it really is going to pick up the word every single time, and that you can either scroll through the page or you can use these arrows to find the word. As I just showed you earlier, when I spelled Marvel, first I spelled it incorrectly, so it does have to be an exact match. So if you have a student that struggles with spelling, you will notice that you also have the microphone option. So the student can speak the word into the search box so they don't have to type it. So spelling does not have to be an area of concern in being able to use this tool. When you are completed, you just tap on done, and all of those highlights go away and the search box disappears. Okay, the next feature that I want to show you, we're going to come back in here, is how you can change the font size. So in the middle, you see you have a small uppercase A and a large uppercase A. This is how you will zoom in and out of the web page. And I'm saying zooming in because basically what it's doing is it is increasing the font size, but it's doing more like a zoom than just increasing the font size. So I'm going to come back in here, and this feature I really like, which is the hide distracting items. So when you tap on that, what you can do is you can just delete specific things. So actually, I'm going to cancel this for a second. So the traditional reader mode is when you tap on show reader, it's going to get rid of everything that it deems a distraction. So the side menus, the images, all of that stuff, any pop-up ads or videos, and it's just literally pulling up the text that you have in here. Okay, but maybe you want to be able to see some of the information. Like maybe this box here in the middle that has the Marvel Comics, timeline in here. I want to see that, but I don't want to see the appearance on the side. So if I tap on hide distracting items and it says select an item, and if I tap here where this appearance sidebar is, I can tap on hide, and notice now it disappears. I can come on this side and tap hide, and it disappears. I can scroll down and say, I do want to keep this picture, because if I'm in reader mode, that picture goes away. So I can just keep scrolling down and I can read the text, but I'm just getting rid of the things that I find distracting without moving information like an image or a video that is a part of it that I feel would be important for me to look at while I'm going through the website. Now, just because you've hidden them, it doesn't mean anything. When you're done, you tap on done, and you'll have in your search bar, there's a little eye with the line through it. So that is telling you that there are items that are hidden. And if I want to have them back, I just tap back on my reader and I tap the show hidden items. And it's asked me, do I want to show them? And I'm going to say yes, show them. And now they appear. So this is a good feature. I think this is a nice example to show that if I'm in reader mode, I'm losing the images of all of those comics. I might want to see those images while I'm reading because it's going to give me that visual support. But some of the other things on the screen are very distracting to me. So it really allows you to customize what I think is distracting. Let me get rid of it, and then I can always bring it back. I'm not deleting it. I'm not impacting anyone else's ability to read this website. So it is a nice feature to have. Okay. Another feature that they have, like I said before, a reason why someone may want to use this is so that they can use the text-to-speech feature. So there are two ways now that you can use text-to-speech. The one that most people are familiar with is going into the text, tapping on it. Oh, I shouldn't have done it that way because it has a pop-up. But if I tap on it and I scroll through and I highlight my text, and as long as my speak selection is turned on in accessibilities and I tap speak,
Pulp Magazine publisher Martin Goodman,
you will see it will read the text aloud with the dual highlighting. So that is your traditional way of using text-to-speech on websites. That feature is good if you just have a specific word that you want to have read aloud, or maybe a specific passage that you want to have read aloud. But if you want to have the entire document read aloud and don't want to have to go in and worrying about highlighting, especially if you have images and all these different boxes in there, because sometimes when you do that, the highlighting feature, to highlight what text you want to have read aloud can be a little wonky. If I go back into my reader mode and say listen to page.
Marvel Comics. For the earlier comic book series or the predecessor to this topic, see Marvel Mystery Comics. Marvel Comics is a New York City-based comic book publisher, a property of the Walt Disney Company.
Okay, so as you can see in this mode, it is going to act more like a screen reader. The main difference compared to a traditional screen reader is that it is not reading. A traditional screen reader would read all the menu items. So like on the top where it says Wikipedia, donate, create account, login. A true screen reader is going to read the entire screen so that if someone has a visual impairment and they need to navigate within the screen, it's going to read everything. This listen to page is just literally going to read the text that is on the page that the website has determined this is text, not menu items. So that's a really nice feature if you don't want to use the screen reader and have to have every little thing read aloud. You just want to have that text read aloud. It will do that. One of the cons to it is that it always starts at the beginning of the article, and while you can jump around using these
Marvel Comics
and plus
Marvel was
buttons
founded
to
in
jump
1939
around,
by Mark.
you can't go in and say, oh, I'm going to highlight, this other passage, and that's where I want the listen to page to start. So you are giving up a little bit of control. Like I said, you have the plus and minus, so you can kind of like fast forward and rewind through it, but you can't just say, I'm going to use the highlighting tool and say where I want it to go. You also have the ability to adjust the speaking rate. The slowest is 0.75, the fastest is 2 times. So if it's something, again, you have some control over that. So if you want to have the entire article read aloud, know it's going to start from the beginning, know that I have some limited navigation tools within it, this listen to page feature is nice. Then if I need to go back and say, oh, I don't need to listen to this whole thing all over again, I just want to come into this section here, I'm going to highlight it and do speak.
Timely's first publication,
and it's going
Marvel
to
Comics
highlight
number
it and
1,
read it aloud
cover
for
dated
me.
October 1939, included the first appearance of...
And then I can tap back into it to pause it. So you have a couple of different ways now that you can use your text-to-speech feature in here. The other item that you have is you have underneath here, it says summary. So I'm going to come out of this page for a second. So you can see on this website, it has a little like purple star almost at the top of the reader icon. What this is telling me is that they were able to, they being the program, was able to pull up a summary of the web page. Now, this does not work in every single web page because there was another site I was on and it didn't work. So as you can see, some of the features don't work on all of the websites. So, just keep that in mind. It's not perfect. But when I tap on it, you can see under some of the information, it says Marvel Comics, and it has the summary. And it's just giving you a very brief summary of what this article is about. This can be helpful if the students are doing research on their own. Instead of them having to read or have the entire web page read aloud, they can have a brief summary to determine, okay, I think that this information is going to be relevant to what I need it for. What I don't like about it is that there are no text-to-speech tools within it. So if you are needing to rely on text-to-speech to have your web page read aloud, your summary is not going to be read aloud. The other thing I wanted to show you is that when you are in reader mode, this is when you can come in and you can make those adjustments to the font. So you can't make those adjustments to the actual website. You can only do that when you are in reader mode. So let's look again here at our plus and minus. So here, using the smaller a and the larger a, I can come in and I can adjust the size of the text in that reader mode. So I have the ability to do it in there. When I tap on the the reader, you can see here, I have, right now it says New York. I can tap on that, and these are the different font sizes. As you can see, there are 9 font choices that you can select from in order to adjust the reading mode. What I don't like is that there is currently not what is considered a dyslexic friendly font, like Open Dyslexic or dyslexia left with. So you can go in and you can change the font style. You also have the contrast, so the traditional is white, background, black text, more of a cream, like a darker gray, and then a black. So not a ton of choices, but you do have the ability to adjust the contrast on there. When you're done, you just again tap on Hide Reader, and that feature goes away. So as we begin the school year, let's prepare our students for success by introducing them to these built-in accessibility tools that can provide additional support. Want to learn more about different assistive technology tools you can use with your students throughout the school year? Subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss an episode. Thanks for watching.